Hello and welcome to, well, this. Look, it's no secret that globally, things aren't exactly rosy in the finance department right now. We're talking about countries wading through debt like it's a particularly sticky swimming pool at a resort that definitely isn't following hygiene regulations. It's a real financial quagmire. Over the next 10 minutes, we'll be diving headfirst into that pool. Metaphorically, of course, because the actual pool probably has a distressing amount of chlorine in it, to examine the top 10 countries drowning in debt by 2025. Spoiler alert, it's not a splashy situation. We'll be looking at the staggering, the unbelievable, the how did we even get here amounts these nations owe. It's a debt-astrophe. Buckle up, kids, because it's going to be a bumpy, depressing, and frankly baffling ride. Hold on to your wallets. First up in the gold medal position for most indebted nation is, unsurprisingly, Japan. They're sitting on a debt pile higher than Mount Fuji, clocking in at over $12 trillion. That's trillion with a T. To put that in perspective, if you were to stack that amount of money in $1 bills, you could probably build a bridge to the moon and back. And then probably afford to actually live on the moon, because let's face it, things down here are looking a little shaky. Now before you start picturing every Japanese citizen weeping into their meticulously crafted ramen about the national debt, it's important to remember that Japan is a financial powerhouse. They've got a lot going for them. But that debt is still a pretty substantial elephant in the room. Or perhaps more accurately, a sumo wrestler in a very small hot spring. Coming in a close second, because apparently nobody wins silver in this race to the bottom, is the good old US of A. With a staggering $31 trillion debt, it seems like America's spend now, worry later mentality might finally be catching up with them. That's enough money to buy every single person on the planet a decent used car, or invest in some much-needed infrastructure improvements, but hey, who needs structurally sound bridges when you can have the fleeting joy of a slightly used Honda Civic, right? Slithering in at number 3 is China, racking up a cool $10 trillion in debt. Now you might be thinking China, but they make everything, and you'd be right, they do make everything, which funnily enough is kind of part of the problem. See, China's been on a bit of an infrastructure spending spree, building cities faster than some people change their socks, and all that concrete, steel, and questionable labor practices don't come cheap. At number 4, we've got Italy. Ah, Italy, the land of pizza, romance, and a $3 trillion national debt. Now we could make a joke about how they spend all their money on fancy cheeses and gondolas, but the truth is, Italy's debt is a complex issue with a lot of contributing factors. Years of sluggish economic growth, political instability, and a tax system that makes the Leaning Tower of Pisa look positively upright have all played their part. Coming in at number 5 is France, with a debt of roughly $3 trillion. Now we all know the French enjoy the finer things in life, wine, cheese, existential philosophy, but it seems like maybe they've been enjoying a little too much credit card joie de vivre. High taxes, generous social programs, and a penchant for government spending have all contributed to France's financial woes. Ah, the United Kingdom, or as they're known in financial circles, the $2.5 trillion question mark. Brexit, as it turns out, wasn't exactly the economic magic bullet some politicians promised it would be. Factor in an aging population, rising healthcare costs, and the fact that their national dish is essentially a gravy-soaked heart attack on a plate, and you've got a recipe for, well, not financial success, that's for sure. Germany, the economic powerhouse of Europe, is still chugging along, but even their engine is starting to sputter under the weight of a $2.4 trillion debt. Known for their efficiency, discipline, and terrifyingly comfortable sandals, even the Germans haven't been able to escape the global debt crisis unscathed. Brazil, with its stunning beaches, vibrant culture, and $1.5 trillion debt, proves that even paradise has a price. Years of government overspending, corruption scandals that would make your head spin faster than a samba dancer, and an over-reliance on commodities have all contributed to Brazil's financial woes. India, the world's largest democracy, is also home to a rapidly growing economy and a $1.4 trillion debt. As India strives to lift millions out of poverty and become a global superpower, it faces the challenge of balancing economic growth with fiscal responsibility. And last but not least, we have Canada, rounding out our list with a respectable $1.2 trillion debt. Known for their politeness, love of hockey, and uncanny ability to apologize for things that aren't their fault, even Canadians aren't immune to the seductive siren song of debt. So, there you have it. The top 10 most indebted countries in the world, a veritable buffet of financial woes, seasoned with a dash of political instability and a generous helping of global economic uncertainty. It's a sobering reminder that even the wealthiest and most powerful nations are not immune to the dangers of overspending and financial mismanagement. Thanks for watching. And remember, the next time you're tempted to pull out your credit card for that impulse purchase, just think of these countries and ask yourself, do I really need this? Or could I just, not buy it, and maybe we can all collectively try to avoid complete economic collapse? Just a thought. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to Next Thing Now for more cheery insights into the impending global financial apocalypse.